Which I just don't get it. What about this doesn't look okay to you?
And a string of bikes hanging from a tree.
Probably all full of thousands and thousands of chickens.
This is state number 7.
One of the funniest things to me about what I'm doing is the number of people that see me and ask me if everything is okay. Which I just don't get it. What about this doesn't look okay to you? Everything is just right. Ain't that right, guys? First day of week 17, and it is 0 degrees. Huge thanks to the Millers for letting me stay at their place the last 2 nights. It's nice to get out of this weather for a day or two. I had to put some shades on because the snow was blinding me with the sun glare. Van over metal buildings. They just welcomed me in to warm up and have some hot chocolate. It was real nice.
Well, as you guys can imagine, I see some interesting things while walking the roads of America. And a string of bikes hanging from a tree. I think that makes the list right there for sure.
This is our last day in Oklahoma, so that's pretty exciting. We're gonna go cross into Arkansas a little later. Last night I stayed with Rob and Cameron and their family, so huge thanks to them for putting me and these horses up, getting us out of the cold. And yeah, we're going to go stay with the Sweats tonight. Some good friends of mine.
Those are big old chicken barns. Probably all full of thousands and thousands of chickens.
Well, this is it, guys. This is state number 7, Arkansas. Saying so long to Oklahoma.
We were there a little over a month. Almost a month and a half. Okay guys, I am in Harvath, Arkansas with some old friends of mine, the Sweats. And I'm staying here on their place. We're gonna be here for at least the rest of the week. We're gonna rest the horses up and get me rested up and hopefully pass some of this cold weather too. But yeah, they've got a beautiful place here. It's awesome. Yeah, we're gonna go get some breakfast. Okay guys, welcome back to Homeless Man Meals with Harvath. On today's episode, we're going to be doing a dessert. We're going to be doing cowboy style bread pudding. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my stick of butter and I'm going to grease the whole bottom of my pot and also just pour a thin layer of oil in the bottom. And then I'm going to break up my bread into kind of bite-sized pieces in the bottom of the pot. Then, because I'm using a stick of butter, I'm going to use my burner to melt the butter in with my milk. You could also just add vegetable oil to your milk and stir it up. Then I'm going to pour that all over the bread ends and try and get the bread to soak up as much of that as possible. Then I'm going to add my chocolate syrup, squirts of that all over. Okay, now we're going to put the pot on the burner and you're going to leave the lid on for the entire time. You're going to set it to the lowest heat that you can. Now that's going to vary from burner to burner, so it might be a little quicker for you, might be a little slower. And then I'll remove it from the heat and I'll let it sit for about 4 to 5 minutes. And once you've let it sit, kick back on your rock in your cave next to your fire, wherever you're at, and eat your delicious bread pudding.
Okay guys, so we're here at the Sweats in Harvath, and these guys are getting pretty standard as far as the grain they're getting. Plenty of good vitamins and fast to keep them going. Bella, we got her on Equine Senior and Amplify to help her gain some weight. So that's gonna help her kind of gain back what she's lost. And it's been a lot of miles, it's been pretty hard on her. So we're gonna see how she does with this. Hopefully it'll help her put some fat and some muscle on. So the other thing that we're gonna do is blanket her at night. It's been a little too warm during the day to keep a blanket on, but this will just keep it so she's not burning any extra calories at night in the cold. So this will help her put weight on faster as well. Okay guys, so today I am picking up a bunch of stuff from Tractor Supply, a bunch of grain and shavings for Dallas and for all her horses. And did a news interview this morning for the newspaper. And yeah, we are just getting back with all the supplies. So pickle the pig, for dinner. You think we will?
All right, guys, let's talk cowboy hats, particularly my style of hat. Now, a lot of you guys have been asking why I wear this style and also how you can get one. Now, mine is a Ceratelli, and it's American-made company, and it's pretty mid-range. It's not the least expensive you could go, but not the most expensive either, and I love mine. It's done me a lot of good. And to understand this style, you need a little bit of a history lesson in the buckaroo tradition. Now, typically when we think of the American cowboy, we think of the cowpuncher tradition in Texas. Now, long before most of the western states that we know today, Utah, Nevada, Colorado, Arizona, all those states, long before they were part of the United States of America, they were part of the Mexican territory. They were owned by Mexico. Now, when the Spanish conquistadors came and brought Spanish colonialism through that whole region, they also brought a tradition of horsemanship and working cattle along with them, and that got established in those areas, which is known as the vaquero tradition. Now, as American settlers moved westward after that territory was annexed from Mexico, there was a merger between the buckaroo or the vaquero tradition and the settlers that came in and settled the regions of the Great Basin. I'm talking about Nevada, western Utah, southern Idaho, southeast Oregon. And with that merger was born the buckaroo tradition. The word buckaroo is an anglicized version of the word vaquero, which is the Spanish word for cowboy or one who takes care of cattle. With that is a whole style of clothing and tack and a way of working cattle and training horses that is very distinct from what we typically think of in American cowboy culture. And it's not something I was born into. It's something I grew into in my horsemanship and the horse trainers that I was around. Along with that comes the hat, right? It comes from the old vaquero flat top hats that they wore in Mexico. And this is kind of the style that was carried on into the buckaroo tradition. And I'm going to be talking more about buckaroo tradition and clothing and equipment as I go throughout this trip to kind of show you guys a whole nother aspect of the cowboy world that we have here in the United States.
Dallas just let me move the horses to this pasture because tonight we're gonna have freezing rain come in, and so that these guys have the option of getting out of the weather, they've got a shelter back there, and they didn't in the other one. So we're gonna do that. If it gets real cold and if any of them are shivering, we got blankets for them too. But yeah, these freezing rain, it's not like just your regular old cold rain that you might have in the winter sometime. It can be pretty nasty. So wanted to have an option to get out of it if they want to. Well guys, thank you so much for tuning into this week's video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Until then, adios.